Part of a winning team.
What's going on? And welcome to what we hope is your favorite sports talk radio program, Idaho Sports Talk. We're Prater in the Ballgame right here on KTIK The Ticket. Prater kicking off hour number 2 on this beautiful day in Boise. And we're going to hang with one of our friends, and things are looking a little different right now. For the first time ever, we got the cameras going in the rowpaint.com studio. This segment with BJ is streamed on all social media channels. And if anybody ever does care about seeing like how we do our thing in this studio, well, pretty soon they're going to be able to do it for 3 hours, but at least for now, one big segment.
There's at least 2 good-looking guys on this segment, one not-so-good-looking guy, but we're still going to bring the thunder. Let's get after it.
Let's do this. BJ Rains joining us right now for our Bronco Nation news report, and our partnership just seems to continue and seems to grow. BJ, what's going on, dude?
Not much. But the pajamas thing kind of scared me there at the end of the last segment. So
I'm just having fun, man. I know Prater does.
He's throwing around all kinds of crazy crap today.
We got all kinds of Bronco Nation news gear, but we haven't made pajamas yet. Maybe I should add that to the list. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. BJ, a lot to talk about. I'm just going to start, obviously, kind of the stretch run. You got 5 games left for this basketball program. Talk about the importance of holding serve, winning this game tomorrow at Extra Mile Arena.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, obviously San Diego State's going to be tough. I think Nevada's playing better for senior night, and you got 5 games left. And I know Bob has said it too, but I think 3-2, is enough to probably get you in. But I think if you can go 4-1 in these last 5 games, even if you go down there and lose in the quarterfinals and get upset in Vegas, I think you're in. I think 4-1 makes Boise State a lock. Which means you got to go 3-0 in your home games and split on the road is the easiest way to do that. So, you already beat this team. I know it was a close game, but you were just kind of getting going, and you had the buzzer beater for Marcus Shaver, or I guess with a second left, whatever it was. So, I mean, it was I'm not a huge Utah State fan. I just look at their roster, and I think that this is a game Boise State should win. It's going to be close to a sellout. But, yeah, I mean, if you're saying you need to go 3-2 or 4-1, you can't start that 5-game stretch with a loss. So win this game tomorrow, get some momentum, hopefully, push that into Tuesday, have another big crowd for San Diego State, and then, get to those final 3 games, 2 on the road, just saying, hey, let's win one of these final 3, and we're in pretty good shape.
BJ Rains joining us again, Bronco Nation News Report. I've been following you, reading you on Twitter, obviously, and stuff, BJ, about the student section and, maybe how that can expand. You don't ever see the star football players there. And a lot of times it's pretty easy to spot the star football players when they do show up and whatnot. I remember they used to years and years ago, but not so much with this team. How can they get that student section really popping for a big game tomorrow, man?
Well, we saw Brian Harsin down there in the front of the Auburn student section going crazy. I mean, let's get Andy Avalos down there in the front of the student section. Let's get, with the place going nuts. If Hank Bachmeier shows up on the video screen telling the fans to start going nuts. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways. And, they did announce yesterday, I guess, that they're taking off the tape for every other row of the student section. So that's going to help to try to pack the student section, the lower part at least. They've got the concessions back open. They're doing all kinds of giveaways tomorrow in terms of prizes and snowboarding stuff for students and lift tickets and rally towels and all kinds of stuff. So, I think that, I think there's a lot of ways they could do it. And I mean, the football Twitter account has 100 plus thousand Twitter followers. The basketball team has 13,000. I went back and looked, and I was back in last August and hadn't found a single tweet from the football account that mentions the basketball team. So I think you could certainly send out a retweet or something to try to help from the football side push the basketball team and vice versa. And I think it's a big opportunity tomorrow, 4:00 game. There's no Super Bowl parties or excuses folks can make. I think that if the student section is not pretty much full tomorrow, I think that'd be pretty disappointing for Leon Rice and the team.
BJ Rains, Bronco Nation News. We do this every Friday right here on Idaho Sports Talk. You can also catch Johnny Ballgame on the Bronco Nation streaming show every Monday, myself every Thursday. Official partnership with Bronco Nation News. BJ, we're happy to do it. Let's dive into the analytics of what these last 5 games mean for Boise State. You're deep into the analytics of college basketball and bracketology. I think Boise State can maybe go as high as a 6 and maybe as low as a 10 or 11. What's the difference in terms of a 6, 7, an 8, a 9? Obviously, 8 and 9s, I think, play each other. 10 or 11. How important is it to get on one of these lines?
Well, certainly if you're wanting to try to advance in the tournament, the 8-9 is not the ideal line, as you guys know, because you're stuck playing the number 1 seed in the second game. I mean, the higher you get, the weaker opponent you play in the first game. So, I mean, yeah, a 6 would be amazing if they could get there, because then you play, a 3, and then you get a chance to play a better team in the second round too. So I think, certainly they want to keep winning. They want to keep moving. And in terms of the metrics, guys, I mean, they picked up a lot of spots, not just because they beat Air Force the other day, but because they beat them by 26 points. And I know Leon Rice has gone on some tangents about this, doesn't like why, how margin of victory plays so much into these analytics, but it is what it is. You're playing the scoreboard. Leon Rice would have been just as fine with a 5-point win at Air Force walking out of there, and they would have probably gone from 40 to 47 in some of those metrics. Instead, they win by 26 and go from 40 back up to 30 at KenPom. So that stuff does matter. I mean, you're predicted to win tomorrow by 5 against Utah State. Anything more than 5 helps you. Anything less than 5 theoretically hurts you. And so it is what it is. And yeah, they want to try to stay in that top 30. I think they're like 33rd right now in KenPom, 35 in the net, something like that. If they can get into the top 30, that would certainly be big for them moving forward. And yeah, man, I know that the metrics matter, but some people will say just win, baby, and just see what happens. But you're projected to go 4-1 in these 5 games. And if they can do that, I think they're sitting, pretty. I don't think you're going to get penalized for a couple of these, road loss to Colorado State or maybe even a San Diego State. So I think they're solidly on that 8-9 line. And I think Joe Lenardi actually had them as like the second or third highest 8. So, I mean, they're closer to a 7 than they are to a 10. So there's a lot of statement opportunities here to get up some big wins and try to inch maybe onto that 7 line if you can.
Whether Leon Rice likes the style point game or not, he has to play it. Do you think and it's not going to be a major priority, but do you think he's going to try to win these games by 10 points, 15 points, 20 points? Will he play the style point game over these next 5 games?
I think he has to, and I think he notices that because he said he hates to do that. He'd like to get the walk-ons in there, the bench players in there if he can, but he's said that he recognizes that stuff does matter. And if you're up 12 against Utah State, that's a big difference than winning by 6. So, I think that, I'm not necessarily saying they're going to be jacking up threes, with 30 seconds left to try to run up the scoreboard as much as they can. But I think it does. The difference, 5 or 6 point difference is a big difference. And unfortunately, the eye test comes into it and all this stuff, but you got 12 people on the selection committee that look at all these different numbers. The net is the main one they use. That's the one they use for the quad system and all that. But the KenPom numbers, the BPI, the Jeff Sagarin, all those numbers are on the sheets. And the committee uses all those numbers. So when you're talking advanced metrics, the better you play on offense and defense, the more efficient you are, and the more you win by. All that stuff plays into it. So I think it'll be very interesting these last 5 games, how they play that. But it would benefit them to win by as many points as they can.
Isn't that crazy? Like, you can essentially lose ranking percentage points for winning a game.
They did that the first time they played Air Force. They played Air Force. They only won by 6, and they dropped down like 7 spots.
Yep. And they dropped. That's just, that's a tough system to subscribe to for me, but that's what they're using. That's what they're using. BJ, Leon had some fun with you at today's press conference when you tried to get anything out of him regarding the health of this team. And if these fans tomorrow are going to see Emmanuel Akot, if they're going to see Najee Smith, both missed the last game. What are your thoughts on that? A hunch? Have you heard anything? Give it to us, PJ.
If you had to, be a betting man, I think Najee Smith for sure plays tomorrow. His was kind of a small sickness. And everything I've been told is that the plan for the last week or so is gearing towards tomorrow to have Emmanuel Akot. So Leon Rice doesn't want to come out and tell Utah State that Akot's back. But I think if he's not back tomorrow, he's for sure back for San Diego State. I think he's close. Some people were worried this might be a season-ending type knee injury or worse than they're letting on. I think he's very close. So I think there is a real strong chance based on being at Air Force and seeing some of the movement and stuff he was doing before the game. I think he's really close, and it wouldn't shock me at all to see Akot back tomorrow.
BJ, we got to cut you off. We got Commissioner Thompson coming on to talk about the CFP news real quick. I'd like to hear your opinion on what happened this morning. I think we're all on the same page. We got to wait. Got no choice for the next 4 years. Hopefully in 2026, Boise State has access to a playoff. What'd you take out of today's news?
Disappointing that it's going to take a couple more years. And the really disappointing thing is that, everything you read is that it's probably going to end up being the same 12-team playoff that was originally proposed. It's just going to take 4 more years. I guess you have a unanimous vote to change it in the middle of it, and you don't have to have that down the line, which is why it'll still end up being the 12-team playoff. So in the end, it's good for Boise State. If it takes a couple extra years, we've been waiting a long time already. What's 2 more years? But it is disappointing. But the fact is that there will be expansion at some point, and that Boise State in the group of 5, at least for now, that's the conference they're in, is going to give them a chance. And I think it's great. But hey, make Commissioner Thompson wait. We can go all day. He has no problem waiting to talk while I'm talking, right?
Yeah. He doesn't care. He knows the power of BJ Rains. All kidding aside, hey man, big event tomorrow, BJ. Obviously, I'll see you there on press row, and expect a classic packed house. I'm thinking like Derek Marks era. I mean, I haven't seen anything really before that era here. I'm expecting a big one tomorrow.
Should be fun, and you guys are looking good too. Liking the camera setup here, and thanks to JP and you guys for setting that up, and looking fun to see where this goes moving forward.
Yeah, you're the best, BJ. Appreciate you, pal.
Take care, guys.
BJ Rains, Bronco Nation News. This is our Bronco Nation News report on Fridays. Coming up, you're not going to want to miss this one. A frustrated Mountain West Commissioner Craig Thompson will join our Fat Guys Fresh Deli hotline when we return. We're Prater in the ball game. This is Idaho Sports Talk. You got yourself KTIK The Ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.
Good afternoon, coming out of downtown.
Well, that was fun, and yeah, we enjoyed it. We were just live, and now we're still live. But yes, Jay, the $45 deal is still available. So if you'd like to subscribe, $45, it is still available. BroncoNationNews.com. Just use the promo code BNN45. BNN45 gets you a full year subscription to Bronco Nation News for $45. So Jay, appreciate you asking that there. Hope folks have a great weekend. We will see you at Extra Mile Arena tomorrow, 4:00. Boise State, Utah State should be